Hello guys, welcome and here we go again with the subject of well intervention. We'll be looking at the well barrier sequence in slickline operation. Let's go. For example, here is a diagram of a slickline operation being grid up on top of your Christmas tree. But first, before we address the well barrier sequence, let's address the PCA. What does PCE stand for? It's short form of pressure contained equipment. All right, what is it? It's basically everything starting from the stuffing box. And here you see the zoom in picture here, from the stuffing box all the way down to the lubricator and everything in between it, down to the quick test up to the BOP. But this is a slickline BOP, not your drilling rig BOP. The slickline BOP, another name is slickline or walleye valve. Okay, and the short piece of the riser and the crossover from the tree cap to the bottom of the slickline BOP or slickline valve. Okay, so those things all the way from stuffing box down to the crossover here, all of them are called PCA of a slickline system. Okay, so literally that's the meaning of it. It contains everything in there, contains the pressure in the well during the intervention operation on a live well. All right, so now just a quick note, but very important, upon rigging up, after completion rigging up, you need to pressure test all the PCE from the stuffing box all the way down to the slickline BOP. Okay, you need to test them. You need to treat the killed well, the dead well, as serious as a live well, because you never know when a gas bubble is released from the paraffin down there at the bottom of the well, right? And then you also need to function test your tool catcher in here, all right? All right, now let's get straight to the problem here. Identify, among these pieces of equipment here from the stuffing box, slickline BOP, the swab valve, upper master valve, lower master valve, and downhole state valve, which one are the ones that you will use them as a pressure control barriers? All right? Will you use stuffing box? For sure. Will you use slickline BOP? For sure. Swab valve? Yes, but be careful you don't use it to cut the walleye or the slickline. The upper master valve, yes, it will be used, right? Lower master valve, will you use it? Be careful. You don't use it to cut the slickline or the walleye. The reason I'll explain later. And downhole safety valve. Remember, as I said in another video, some companies consider downhole safety valve as a barrier, but API allows some certain leak rate past this valve. So, some companies therefore don't consider this downhole safety valve as a barrier. Alright, so basically you will have stuffing box, slickline BOP, swab valve, and upper master valve. Those four pieces are the equipment that you'll be using as your barrier, your pressure control barrier. Alright, so the primary barrier here will be first, but first we define what is primary barrier. Primary pressure barrier is the one that continuously support and contain the pressure to allow continuous operation. All right, so the stuffing box, the lubricator, the check valve, those are the primary. And the three valves only consider as primary when you are installing or removing tools from the lubricator. And secondary well barrier is the means that you use to close on the slickline or walleye, okay, but not cutting the line. So that will be the slickline BOP ram or the valve, and the swab valve. The swab valve on top here, or another name, corral valve, if the slickline is broken and ejected from the lubricator. Okay, but we don't use it to cut the line, right? And tertiary pressure containment is to cut the slickline or walleye. To cut the slickline, all right, you use the upper master valve, all right? And in case you install another shear ram, slickline shear ram directly above the Christmas tree, then that will be considered as a tertiary barrier. In this case, they don't use a shear ram in here. So therefore, your tertiary control here is a UMV. Right, you never use a swap valve, the lower master valve, to cut the line, because if you use the lower master valve to cut the line and it gets damaged, then the well has to be plugged for repair. All right, it's very costly. The same with the swap valve. You don't use it to cut the line, because if it gets damaged, then you no longer have a double barrier protection from the production fluid. So I hope this explanation is clear and you enjoy it. Cheers.